All right, welcome back to Making Picks. My name is Nathan. I'm here with Mark. And Mark, before we get into all of that stuff, I just gotta say, how about them Lions?
That was a really kind of fun game to watch. I thought what they actually did, especially with the tragedy that took place out in Michigan with the school shooting, how they kind of honored those kids. Didn't really see this one kind of coming. I mean, after the Thanksgiving Day game, I was like, all right, you know what, these guys they're kind of done. But a lot of credit to the team. Played kind of hard, kind of an exciting game. So
Hmm?
yeah, kudos to the Lions and getting their first win even though it came at what December the 4th.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's better than going the 0 and 17, 0 and 17, 18 route. Um, but they did have the tie with Pittsburgh, so I mean, it just didn't really
Yep.
count to me. It like a tie. Yeah, you're not over, but you're still kind of over. Now they legit have a digit in that first column, that win column. So, it's. I think they could get maybe one more with Atlanta, maybe push it to two. Um, but what I liked was the tenacity that I saw, and I really kind of credit that to the coaching. Um, as a Lions fan, it's very common to see two different halves, where they'll come out strong and then they'll die in the second half, or the have a weak first half and then try and pull back in the second, which is generally more like garbage time. You're getting blown out, but then hey, we made it, a two-score game instead of a four-score game. Um, but this was very much like they had the foot on the pedal at the beginning. They let off the gas a little bit, but then they were able to figure it out and at least keep putting points on the board there, in the with field goals and stuff like that. So, and that put them in the position to win it at the end. I still think Jared Goff is a terrible quarterback. He made horrible decisions that game, but it was good to see like the defense not give up. The offense still kind of pushing things. So overall, I think I'm seeing stuff that you can really build off of that we've never really had in
Wow. Do I sense a little bit of optimism from
for
from
next year, 2 years. Once we get rid of Goff, I think that Stafford, if he would have stayed with this coach Dan Campbell, I think this team would be, I don't know, looking at playoffs. Even
wow.
with the wide receiver troubles that they have, but I think Goff just makes bad decisions, and there's one catch that everyone's talking about, and that's his throw to the tight end there, Hawkinson, where he kind of fits it into a window of like three defenders around him, and I just don't give him credit for that. Like, yeah, he made the throw, but that would have been an interception right there. That's just, to me, it's just poor decision making. Like, there's other guys. If there's three guys on Hawkinson, there's another guy on the field that's wide open.
Okay.
So
Hey, say what you kind of want here for at least 1 week. It was actually a fun game to watch here. I was actually
yeah,
out that day. I was watching the Giant game kind of at a bar. Don't ask me kind of why. Probably the worst football game that I've probably seen in my entire life. If I don't know, Mike Glennon. I've just have seen enough of guys like that. From doesn't really kind of excite me a lot. So we'll see. I mean, I'm not even sure if I'll watch the Giant game this weekend here. I mean, this is kind of crazy. But anyway, getting back to the Lions here, just to kind of see the reaction of Goff um, coming off the field, you know, uh, getting into it with his teammates, hugging his coaching, stuff like
yeah,
that. It was just kind of cool to see the emotion of a team that's kind of going nowhere, basically get off the schneid and get their first win. So I just thought it was a cool moment. It was one of those things where it's kind of like, for me, playing golf. You suck at golf, you hit all these bad shots here, then you kind of hit that one good shot, and that's what kind of keeps you coming back here. From a
yeah.
football perspective, being kind of miserable for the entire year, seeing a moment like that, hey, you know what? I'm kind of curious to see now. Don't ask me why, how the Lions respond again, in their next game after such an emotional win. They could completely suck again and get blown out, but for at least one more game, I got my. I'm not saying that I'm going to sit down and watch the Lion game, but I'm kind of curious to see how they play.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing, kind of like about sports here. So that's the big takeaway that I took away from that Lions Minnesota game, and then go kind of like figure. We're recording on a Friday, in true Vikings fashion, they go out, they basically put their foot down on the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're up 29-0. I go to bed because this game,
Yeah.
go figure, another typical kind of like an NFL game where you don't know what the heck is kind of like going on. Just to kind of like wake up this morning and find out, hey, you know what, hey, they needed a touchdown plus a 2-point conversion, but true Lions fashion, team comes back and they have an opportunity to squander yet another football
Yep.
game. Try and figure that team out. So,
Yeah, no, I was watching a little bit of it.
did
I've
you
got
watch the
just
whole thing, or did you kind of like bail after? I literally bailed after 29-0.
Yeah, I think that was around. So I was actually watching it on my iPad while also playing. Well, Halo Infinite came out, so was playing video games, and then the iPad died, and I just kind of was checking in on my phone. I got Justin Jefferson in a fantasy league where I'm trying to dominate and go into playoffs. So keeping tabs there. But yeah, no, that was a pretty big turnaround from the previous week to just kind of lay a stomping on Pittsburgh. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. And I got a question. You talk about you were watching the Giants, and we're talking a little bit of future here and stuff. But does Danny Dimes come back? What do you think? Now we're getting towards the end of the year. Season's almost done. Did Daniel Jones squander his final opportunity? What do you think?
I have no idea. I wish I can kind of like give you a intelligent like answer. This team is so bad in so many different ways, and where I'm just like literally at a point here. Hey, you know what? You want to give Daniel Jones another shot? Bring him back. I really don't care. You want to clean house and get rid of everybody and literally start from square one again here? I'm kind of like okay with that as well. I can't. We were when I was watching the game at the bar. I was with a couple of friends and we were talking about like, who do you build like the Giants kind of like around here? And we were just joking around. Andrew Thomas. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna build your freaking team kind of like around a lineman. I mean, the best player on that team is the kicker. So I mean, actually he missed the field goal towards the. I mean, it was meaningless anyway. But I mean, the best player on that team is the field goal kicker. You want to build a team around the field goal kicker? I mean, what are you going to do? I think it's weird. They're not coached well. They make really dumb kind of time. I think I don't know. They called a timeout with 10 seconds to go in the first quarter
Oh
of
wow.
last game. It was I don't know. There's just dumb things like that they constantly do. You can't point to coaching. It's like, all right, you know what? They suck. They're not getting the results on the field, but they're coached well. That's not the case here. It's not like, all right, you know what? You know, um, special teams is playing pretty well. And if you plug in a couple pieces here on the offense, they can't, they don't score. They don't do anything really well on offense.
Yeah.
They've been playing okay or respectable on defense, but it's not like they're hitting like out of the park here. It's still at a point where you need the team to make a big stop here. They never go ahead and do it here. I mean, they're outscored 52-0 in the
Oh,
last 2 minutes of the second quarter for the actually I think it was 52 going into last week. It might be up to like like 50, 58, 59 or something like that. But it constantly play well for a good first half, give up a cheap score or score with less than 2 minutes to go in before kind of halftime. They still don't really pressure the quarterback well. Defense is actually playing much better. They played well enough to win last week's kind of game, but we're not talking about like the 85. They don't do anything well. Is the point that I'm
yeah.
probably going to make. So whatever
Yeah.
you want to do, you want to cherry pick and bring a couple people back, no problem. You want to clean house, go for it. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine. I definitely can imagine.
Like the
So,
Lions play hard. It's like, all right, I can kind of see that. John, like have some fucking pride, man. Like
yeah.
it's Barkley. I mean, if you you're gonna nail Daniel Jones. Go ahead and nail him. But what about Barkley? What
Yeah.
about
Galladay, you guys spent a ton of money on a paperweight, essentially.
is that because the quarterback sucks? Is that because the offensive line is kind of horrible? Is that because you can't, have any legitimate threat off of play action? Is it because I don't know I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And don't even get me like started. These guys, and look, whatever. You don't want anybody like getting hurt and things like that, but these guys don't fucking play.
Yeah.
Nobody plays.
Yeah. I mean,
Nobody plays.
it seems like that's really more prevalent nowadays. Like it's almost like your star players always end up with a week or two out here or there, even the most healthy ones. And I don't know what that is. If it's the turf, if it's the conditioning coaches, like
I, I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
that's the whole thing too, and it's just really strange. It's like, okay, Daniel Jones got hurt, but last week he was practice. He practiced last, I want to say Tuesday and Wednesday, and then he was kind of ruled out in favor of Glennon for the which kind of makes sense here. But I just thought it's it's just strange. I mean, you have a guy who's practicing with the hopes that he could play against Miami last Sunday.
yeah,
And now, like, the possibility of him playing this week against the Chargers is a complete afterthought. Like, it's not even. It should. I can't figure it out. Like, I don't know which way is up and which way is down with this team. So,
right. All right.
and it sucks. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to watch this off season. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about regarding Giants and as well the Lions. So, but with that, let's get into a little bit. Mark, why don't you go into what the game's about and like let's kick this thing off.
All right. Well, hey, look, we're just playing a little bit of a different game with a different twist on on fantasy sports. This week we are playing on StatementGames.com. Hopefully next week or shortly after that, we're getting really close here. We could start playing full automated games on sportshosts.statementgames.com. So on the business side of things here, I mean, look, we're going through like a little bit of growing pains. Full disclosure. There's a lot of work that's being done on the back end. So, Nathan, if you don't mind, if you could just pull up your screen, because maybe you guys can kind of help me out. If you guys are coming into a situation where you're logging into Statement Games and you're seeing a blank white screen, drop a comment in the comment section or just shoot me an email. My email is marketing@statementgames.com, or give us a tweet, either Facebook or Twitter @statementgames. Just let us know if you're seeing anything strange that looks like this, because what you should be seeing, and just go ahead and kind of share my screen,
Yep.
is something that looks like this. Now, I'm kind of playing from a Windows-driven Toshiba laptop. Nathan was actually playing on a Apple kind of device. I'm assuming it's a MacBook, right, Nathan?
iMac.
It's from an iMac here.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see like a little bit of a trend. I haven't put my finger on the pulse yet here. I think this is something that's more Apple related, which um, I'm pretty sure I can kind of fix. I just need kind of comments and feedback, and where any of you guys are coming through scenarios like we have just seen from Nathan's iMac, let us know. But hypothetically speaking, or actually, fully speaking, you should be able to play a variety of games from statementgames.com, which makes me want to just segue quickly into the app. App is still available. It still works. Please utilize the app to redeem your coins for cash gift cards. I know that everybody is, looking to take advantage of some presents and things like that for the holidays. There's probably over 80 different merchants that are available to exchange your coins for gift cards through the Statement Games app. It's just that you can't play games on the app right now. We're working to get it resolved. I know that I mentioned it kind of last week here. So in terms of playing games, www.statementgames.com. In terms of just exchanging your coins for rewards, please go ahead and utilize the app. I understand it's a little bit of a shit show right now, but we are trying to put ourselves in the best possible position in terms of service as well as gaming automation as we make the turn into 2022. It's not an excuse. It's just kind of like a reality. I am a startup. There are extremely limited resources that we actually have. That's just the nature of the beast, and that is reality. It's not an excuse. I am doing everything that I can. Me and Nathan kind of like converse pretty much on a weekly, bi-daily kind of basis here. We are working our asses off to get this thing kind of right once and for all. I promise you we'll get it done. I will go to my grave getting this thing kind of humming on all cylinders. So I do appreciate everybody's patronage and sticking with us and doing kind of what they can. I understand that we're in a little bit of a growing pains spurt right now. Stick with us. We'll be back better than ever.
Nice. No, it's I love to what I'm seeing as far as the growth and what you're doing. Obviously bugs come with it. I deal with it all the time myself. So looking forward to those bugs getting squashed and getting back into just
Yeah, maybe like a Q1 next year here, we'll dive back into a little bit of a business segment of Statement Games. Another prior to the show here, I gave you a little bit of a tour of our back end kind of like
yeah.
platform, just kind of show you how easy it is to set up different podcasters, bloggers, different accounts with a white labeled solution of our game here. We need to kind of take that step. But anyway, enough stuff, enough complaining about the Giants. Congratulations to the Lions. Also, a big congratulations to the Pat McAfee show.
Well,
Signed a $30 million deal with FanDuel, so hey, it's got to be nice. So
yeah, yeah. Uh,
business side of things here, industry is still growing. A lot of buzz kind of like in the space over here, and hey, you know what? This is why we're doing kind of what we're doing.
yep.
Anyway, on to the
Yeah.
game here. So when you log into Statement Games here, this is what our lobby kind of looks like. And we are going to just go ahead and jump right into the Chicago Bears. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Chicago Bears at Green Bay Packers Sunday night connecting a football game. We're going to be playing in contest one since Nathan is still having some issues. We are playing under the handle of Founder. So Founder is me. So just understand that if you happen to be playing in contest one or any of the games on Statement Games, if you see the username Founder, you're basically playing against myself. But for this specific game here, I'm going to have some assistance with Nathan. So last week, 2 right, 1 wrong for me. Nathan with a goose egg. Although you had a pretty decent week the week before,
Yeah.
so I continue to win. Um,
Yep.
Nathan, some up, some down, which is pretty much like par for the course for you for the year.
Yeah.
Some really good weeks, and then obviously weeks like we kind of had before. And in case you're wondering where Will is this week here, hey, look, you know what? Your guess is as good as mine. So we'll go from there. As I get kind of emails in here, whatever, I'll do my best to shut the noise off while we go ahead and make some picks here. So here we go.
All right.
Any obvious thoughts? Anything sticking out here? Obviously, you're a Lions fan. You're a little bit more familiar with this black and blue division.
Yep. Yep.
Any, anything stick out as we dive into making some picks here?
So I think the Green Bay Packers are a force. And I don't think the Bears have a decent defense, but I think they're going to be struggling on offense and keeping up with Rodgers and his, rocket cannon of an arm. So I really like the Packers in this. Um, I think that 43.5 as the spread or the over under is that's a pretty good line. I think I don't think it's going to be super high scoring, but I think the Packers are going to come away with like a good lead. And I think that's pretty well stated in the Vegas spread and everything. So um yeah, I think that my gut says, you know, going big on Rodgers, going big on the air attack. I don't know so much the rushing. I think they're going to have a problem with because of that Bears defense. Roquan Smith being able to stuff those holes. Um, what do you see? What do you think, Mark?
I'm a little torn. I alluded to this last week here. I'm a big fan of playing some unders, especially within divisional games. They play
Yeah,
each other twice a year. There's some familiarity with the two organizations, but first glance here, 43.5, that looks a little low. I am not. I mean, I don't think it's any secret. Freaking Rodgers hates the Bears, so anytime he has an opportunity to stick it to him, he will take advantage of. Go ahead and do that. You have Green Bay or at Green Bay here, so it's December football. You always have to be a little bit cautious of weather and elements coming into play here. So I got a couple of different ideas. I'm just going to go ahead and make my first pick here, and then I will continue to elaborate on what I'm thinking of based off of what you're picking here. But I don't want to mess anything up here. So let me just kind of jump in. I'm going to jump into the kicker position. I am going to lock in on Carlos Santos over 1.5 field goals. I don't think that the Bears will score a lot of points. However, I do see the Packers putting up some points, and Bears trying to keep pace by putting up kind of some scores. So whether they, get into the, get into position to score touchdowns, we'll go ahead and see. But I got a pretty confident feel that the kicker will go over 1.5. I do think Chicago will move the ball. I'm just not confident on how many touchdowns that they'll be able to put up.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Switch over to the wide receiver tab there, and I'm going to, give me all day Davante Adams over 79.5 receiving yards. I think that's a pretty good lock, to be honest. I think that Rodgers is going to have to throw, and with Davante Adams back and in the mix, it's going to be, a lot of out routes to him, seam, right up the line. And I think Davante Adams is going to easily make the 79. He might make the 79.5 receiving yards on one drive. So
okay. All right, we'll go ahead and see here. Rookie quarterbacks, don't like them, although it looks like my synopsis on Mac Jones at the beginning of the year, although it was looking good for the first couple of games here, looks like he's kind of sticking it kind of in the right team right now. But in terms of my predictions on Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, I'm looking kind of pretty good on that stuff over here.
Well, he did only have a 66% completion rating this past game. He missed one of the three.
That's true. Well, hey, you know what? It's different. We can probably spend the whole freaking show on. Man, talk about
that game was
getting
crazy.
back to the Giants over here. You see what the Patriots are doing. They're like, you know what? Why can't they do what these assholes are doing?
Right. Yeah. Yep. Well, so there's a lot of teams that try to do that and they fail. Detroit was the most recent, new Patriot way experiment, and you see what that led to. So, unless you can get Big Bill himself, I think I wouldn't chase that dragon.
All right. Well, anyway, getting back to Fields, the Bears can defense and all that stuff here. There's a couple of different ways that this can play out here. One, I don't trust Fields. Two, if Green Bay gets up a lot, you're gonna have the Bears having to opt more for the passing game here, just to kind of keep pace with the Packers. So weather potentially an issue. You got Fields. There's just multiple ways in which this team can kind of turn the ball over. Special teams fumble or muff or anything like that here. So I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers defense over 1.5 turnovers.
Nice. I like that. You're taking a pick from me there. Let's go up to the running back tab.
And plus, I didn't take any picks from you here. It was my turn to pick. I had free reign to make my selections. And I made a selection just because I dive into the defensive category every once in a while, and you're a defensive guy. Doesn't mean that I'm stealing your pick. Look, there are a whole slew of other defensive picks that you can pick from. Help yourself to a pick and go from there. Would you say go back to
running backs right
back?
there?
Okay.
I'm actually gonna go with the 1.5. I think is high for Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon in this. In this situation, I'm actually going to take the under. Aaron Jones,
Okay.
AJ Dillon. I think that while they probably one of them will get a touchdown, I don't think there's going to be two rushing touchdowns. I think that Rodgers is going to have a good lead with a few passing touchdowns. I mean, even I probably wouldn't do it in this situation, but I would probably go into the tight ends and say that there might be a tight end touchdown there. But I'm going to take the under on that.
Okay. All right. So, look, you have a divisional game. I'm making this pick with trepidation, but I have to kind of stick with my main kind of overarching theme of making picks, whether it's on statement games or just from a straight up gaming perspective. Divisional game,
Yep.
11.5 point spread. I don't like picking against Rodgers, but I'm going to pick against Rodgers here. Give me the points. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers will not win by 11.5 points. I'm actually going to drop this down into like the number 2 selection. But anytime I have an opportunity in where I'm getting 11.5 points here within a divisional game, I'm going to take it. So
Right. Yep.
that's what I'm going with.
Sounds good. Okay, flip over the QBs. We haven't touched much with the quarterbacks here, and I am going to I'm going to take the over on
Scroll
passing
down, up.
yards.
You want to know?
Right there.
Okay.
Uh, Green Bay starting QB over 274.5 passing yards, Aaron Rodgers. And put that at 5, just so that I can, when we look back at these, I can quickly see which picks were mine.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said with the Devontae Adams, I think that there's going to be an air attack going on here. And now this is contingent on the weather. If it's a huge dumping of snow, that we saw like in Buffalo with the Patriots and stuff, this might put a little bit of a damper on our projections here. Probably all of the things, because you're not making field goals, you're not really doing a whole lot with receiving and stuff. So,
We'll give you a break. We'll give you a break. So,
but what I'm
look,
saying
as
is,
as we record, we have 2 days out, 8 hours,
yeah,
1 minute, and
0
9.
seconds,
Yeah, and I'll say whatever.
right?
So, you want to change your pick? We'll have to announce it kind of like on social media,
Yeah.
and we'll swap it out.
Well, but what I was gonna say is, even if there is some snow, Aaron Rodgers
I
is
think
a
he loves the
winter
snow. I
quarterback.
don't think it
Yeah,
really.
it won't really affect him too much. It would have to be a very large dumping of snow to really, like a snow bowl type.
It's more like we saw in Buffalo last week. It's more of if the wind, if there's
Right.
any type of factor and things like that.
Yeah. So I think Aaron Rodgers should be pretty safe to keep to throw in this game. So I like the 274.5 passing yards over. Yeah, so that looks like 1, 2, 4, 6. That's 6 picks. We'll
That's
do
it.
the
We'll make the last 4 offline to give ourselves some type of competitive advantage. I'll come to the table with an offer. If anybody who plays in this contest or this tournament, go 10 for 10 with your picks. $100 cash, either PayPal, Venmo, check, whatever you kind of want. You got to go 10 for 10 picks. Consider a little scratch off, a little lottery ticket. However, in order to take advantage of that offer, you do have to be a subscriber to the Statement Games channel, and you will have to drop a comment in the comment section below. Comment needs to follow a very specific format. You need to state what your Statement Games user is, or what your Sports Host username is, and post what your top 10 pick is, who you're locking in the number 10 pick, and keep in mind it's your first entry only. So you can play in these games until you're blue in the face, as long as you have the tokens or the credits or the coins to go ahead and do so. However, if you choose to do that, we are just looking at your first entry.
Gotcha. Definitely. Awesome. So for everyone out there, make sure you are following on all social medias at Statement Games. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Statement Games Inc.
As
And
well as Rumble. We're on Rumble as well.
yeah,
So
Rumble.
videos go up there. I will make it part of my New Year's resolution here. We're doing a better job at posting videos on a weekly basis, but I am lacking with regards to posting on Facebook and Twitter. So I got to get back into it here. Hey guys, I ran out of interns. What do you want me to tell you? So
There you go. There you go. And finally, make sure that you're playing statementgames.com in the apps, you know, when they're functional. And give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing here, and if you're seeing the white screen of death that I am, so that Mark can get in there and squash that bug. But until next week, Mark, uh, good luck, and hopefully, maybe we can go 10 for 10 with our picks, and
maybe
you can give us $100.
that would be nice.
Yeah. All right.
That would be
See ya.
nice.